Okay, good afternoon, everyone. It's 3 p.m. on Wednesday, December the 4th. Call the Kent County Police Accountability Board to order. Remember, all items discussed about personnel are confidential matters, and they stay within our meeting here. One quick note, when we're speaking up at the table here, it's been brought to my attention, we need to speak a little louder into these microphones. Sometimes the minutes have to go back and listen to the audio tape, and they're not picking up what's being said. So just be a little mindful of that when you're speaking at the table. We follow Robert Rules of Order, and we're guided by the Maryland Open Meetings Act. Has everybody got their minutes from last month?
Yeah.
Can I get a motion to approve them?
So moved.
Second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Minutes are approved. Old business. We've got nothing under the old business category. Someone jump right into new business. Has everybody gotten a copy? Everybody had gotten a copy of the ACC policies and procedures? You should have been sent that electronically, but do you have it in your packets? Do we have any, what's that?
I think your packet is the only one that has it.
Oh, really? Does anybody need to see it before we discuss it?
Yeah, I would like to see it. I didn't get a chance.
Everybody did get it though electronically, correct? Twice, yeah. Did anybody have any questions about it? Concerns?
Yeah, I did. I made some quick note. Has it already been approved?
No, so what we're going to do is vote on it tonight, or this afternoon. And after we vote on it, it goes to the county attorney for legal sufficiency.
Okay. Yeah, I looked over it briefly, didn't have a chance to go through it thoroughly. I think I made a note on Article 3, requirements of members. ACE members are expected to attend all meetings. I just have a little issue with all. I think it's not a great big deal, but it just sounds like it's mandatory. If you miss a meeting, that's going to be a problem, but they should attend scheduled meetings. That's one.
Highlight that on that form so I can see it.
Okay. And the other, was the use of, well, let me go back. It's Article 3. The other thing I was looking at is as far as if someone was absent, like I said, when I see all, it's like mandatory language. And if they're going to be absent, they need to notify the chair that they're going to be absent in advance. But if there's an unforeseeable circumstance that they cannot be here, an accident or they have to be hospitalized, I've had this language in other legislative, but I was thinking, with approval of the chair
Well, it's
and,
not so much approval as much
Yeah.
as a notification they're not going to make it. Because we're not going to say you have to be here regardless.
right.
But I think the all is in there so we can take care of we don't want someone saying they're gonna be on the ACC, going through the training, and then just not coming to any of the meetings. If that makes sense.
Right. I understand
Because
that.
it's-
It's just- And they use that in my doctors, when I was, you're going to attend all scheduled appointments. And there was no language in there, if I had a car accident, my car breaks down, I can't attend, are you going to charge me for missing this appointment time? I just put, notify you, if it can be done in advance, but if not, except for reasonable cause. If that makes sense.
I just need to get where we're at with
Yeah.
that, so I can see the wording, because I,
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
yes,
it is covered.
it is covered.
It is covered. It says inform the chair and administration in advance of the meeting. So it's covered. There's leeway there.
Yeah,
So it
but
is
it's saying in
covered.
advance, before the meeting. What if I can't be here because my car broke down? Or I'm in a hospital that no one knows what's happening. The language is very important, especially if it should go to litigation on how it's interpreted. But I'm just throwing it out there, just to take a look at it. If everyone approves the way it is, that's fine. We had some similar legislation in our ethics commission, our rules of procedures, and it had something similar. We did correct that, because there's so many unknown events that could happen.
And let me tell you, so where this comes from is, A, we have to have this policy in place.
Right.
The ACC members sat down with other examples from other counties, and they created a policy. And this is what the ACC is presenting to the PAB that the PAB would adopt for the ACC, if that makes sense. Because they're a committee
I know.
of the board.
I know. It's almost like
And-
the training sessions.
Right. But-
This is it.
But they're the ones that created this.
Right.
And they're the ones that said, this is their final draft, and this is what they want presented to the board.
Okay. All right. That's my issue there. And then the other one, it's using,
Again?
Check your tax.
Any one of you can make a motion to alter the wording to justify the all within their control.
True.
This is our subject to their approval, is that what that is? Yes. Because you're on the committee.
So if you guys have some opinion, please
Well,
share
yeah,
that.
our opinion is that's the way it was like.
Well,
That's why we wrote it that way.
And that's what I'm trying to,
And I think part of the rationale for that was if you have a board member who continually doesn't attend the meetings, that they can be removed from the board. I think that was kind of
Exactly.
what the thought behind that was. It wasn't that if you miss an occasional meeting or something, that there's some type of punitive action. I think it's if there's someone who's taking a spot on the board who continually doesn't come to the meetings, they can be removed. I think that's kind of what,
Yes.
I could be wrong there.
yeah. Yeah, and I would just say, but for reasonable cause. That's the only thing I'm throwing out. But like I said, everyone agrees. I'll be the lone vote, but I've written legislative rules and regulations. And so, it's just the way, this go to litigation, and it's gonna be interpreted. And it's gonna be interpreted very, very carefully. But anyway, that's beside the point. The other issue, if you wanna vote on it too, is that Article 3, let's see where, Article 3, ACC members, it goes to the chair. And I notice subsection A, the members shall choose a chairman from their membership. The issue I have is with chairman. You need to be generally neutral with the words. That's the current structure, otherwise, get rid of the man, just the chair. And you seem to be using all gender-neutral words after that fact. So that's the only,
How about chairperson?
Person.
Or chairperson, yeah, something that's
chairperson.
general, trying to get away from chairwoman or policeman, more of a neutral gender writing. And that's it, that's all I have.
And I also think your previous concern, I
Yeah.
think is if you don't make the meeting and you can't call ahead or something like that, normally, in most cases I've been in, somebody will eventually call and let the organization know what happened. And there you are.
Right.
You know, you're just not going to automatically be penalized for not being there as long as someone does contact within a reasonable time what happened to you.
Right. And it just depends on the relationship with the board members and a particular board member, because there may be some personality issues. I mean, I've seen this stuff go to litigation.
Just remember,
Yeah.
you keep saying the board, these
Right.
are the ACC rules and regulations, not the board rules
Okay,
and
yeah,
regulations.
yeah, that's true. That's
I
true,
don't want you to confuse the two.
right, that's true. So that's, that's pretty much, all that I have. And I can say for the record, maybe I should wait, I'm not gonna be here in January. I have to travel outside, outside the state, so I'm just letting
Yeah.
everyone know.
Yep.
Okay.
Can I get that back from you?
Sure.
So,
Oh, here's two other pages.
where he's talking about attend all meetings,
Yes.
if they were to change it to within their control,
No.
no, you want all?
All. That's you're required to be at all meetings. Not most, not 90%, but all meetings.
All right. Can I get a motion to accept these?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor of the way it is without any changes, say aye. Those opposed? Passes.
Abstain.
You abstain?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, moving on. So now these policies and procedures will go to the county attorney for legal sufficiency. And then, once he's done that, it'll be back in place. Currently, I think Frank and Pete Landon are working on obtaining a PAB-ACC lawyer as needed for any legal questions. They're working on it. Did you have anything to add to that?
I can probably add, it's become apparent that the Police Accountability Board and/or the Administrative Charging Committee might need legal representation outside of normal everyday stuff. I kind of thought it was better if there was an attorney, not the county contracted attorney, that was able to represent the Accountability Board as well as the Administrative Charging Committee. So we're in the process of locating, and there is one that several of the counties use, not all because they have their own law office, but some of the other counties operates from shore. So when it comes to fruition, we'll bring something before the board for your consideration.
Would this be something that the county or the state would fund?
Depends if I can work it into it being covered by the Police Accountability grant, I will. If not, I'll get a commitment for the county to provide funding for it.
Okay.
I just think it's important to have
Yeah.
someone that's familiar with Robert's Rules of Order, parliamentary, and more so than other type of, other litigation.
And this was brought up in a meeting maybe 3 months ago.
Yeah.
Thank you for looking into that for us. The PAB is still currently looking to recruit trial board members. We have one that's been through the training. We need probably at least 2 more, because if and when there ever is a trial board, there's going to be a timeline when they have to get it in place. And if we only have one member, it could be they're out of town, whatever, they're just not available. So we need to have more than just one. So please, anybody that you think, you had somebody, didn't you? You think he'd still be interested?
I'll check with him.
Okay. Please let Frank or I know, so we can get that going. Everybody get the dodgeball tournament. I was going to enter a team from us, but I was told that probably won't work out well.
You're welcome to join.
But it'd be a great idea to go out and support these guys. And this is for the YMCA, right?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, it's awesome. Are you all playing in it?
We're really more of a managing.
Yeah.
We have these, we're both ironically out of town, but both departments will be
I
represented.
knew there was a
So
catch somewhere.
So we're behind the scenes. Currently, our guys are dodging wrenches, so.
Exactly.
It's awesome.
Duck, dive, dodge, or something.
On your agendas, I have it under the very next PAB open discussion, but I want to bring it up now under new business. Everybody's, in their package had the spreadsheets for the, this is where we're going to bring up and discuss, one of the primary functions of the board is to review these cases and see if there's any trends that they would like to be addressed with the law enforcement leadership. Hence, that's why they're here. So everybody's had a chance to review the spreadsheet. Any questions about any of these that have been closed? Anything you wanted to ask? We have to do, Frank and I and Pete will be putting together an annual report, and a lot of this stuff will be put in it, to the county commissioners. And like I say, this is your time as the board to ask questions. Everybody okay with understanding the spreadsheet, how it works? Okay. Anything? Okay. Good.
Good.
Did you guys have anything to bring up?
The only question I would have is I see that 3 of our compliments that I think were taken from the spreadsheet that I had sent. What would be the best way to do that? As far as like, should I do it monthly? Should we do it quarterly? Because I actually brought mine and we've gotten several more since then, and I want to make sure. I don't feel like sending every time somebody says you did a nice job. I don't think everybody wants to be worried with that,
And I
but
will go ahead and update.
you'll update it.
Yeah.
Perfect,
Send it right over.
perfect, thank you.
Okay.
the same for you guys too. You can send them weekly, monthly, whatever you want.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Okay, moving on to open discussion. The one thing I want to bring up is the trial board policies. Since LEOBR is gone, agencies have to come up with their own trial board policies, procedures. And I think Frank has distributed a sample.
Yeah.
And try to fill everybody in here. It's a very complicated system, so to speak, now with the trial boards. What happened, well, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but if an officer gets charged with something and he requests a trial board, then this procedure would kick in place. And it's a whole myriad of things. They have to find an administrative judge. The PAB would have to provide them a trial board member, which we have, one. That's why we need more. The county commissioner has to be involved or notified.
They make the request for the
Yeah,
judge, for
they
the
make-
administrative
yep.
judge.
So there's just a lot of things, and it's a timeline issue too. So it's not as easy as I guess it once was. So, are we going to try to adopt one policy, or just each department's going to come up with their own? And
We're waiting on Dennis.
My suggestion was to adopt one.
Yeah, that's what we. kinda
Make it
agreed
easy.
on. See what Dennis comes up with.
Well, I mean, we have one that's on paper. We just have gone through the final approval process for us. What did we do? We took the NRP one, I believe there was maybe like an Aberdeen one that we looked at, and it was somebody else. So we kind of like melded all those together and looked at it, and the accreditation manager put one together, and Harry and I usually look at those and try to pick it apart and make sure everything looks the way it should. I mean, we have it on paper, we just haven't gone through the final approval process of that to make sure we got everything covered. I mean, it's definitely, it's the procedure part of that, so for the most part, obviously, other places have done these things ahead of us. One of the things that, just comes to light in my mind is if you've got a case of which someone is just the maximum penalty is a letter of reprimand or something like that, you know what I mean? Then you got somebody saying, nah, well, I'll just go ahead and go to trial board, and in the meantime, that's, quite a bit of money for something that's probably gonna wind up being the same result. But of course, you have, and understandably, I mean, you have FOPs that are urging the officers to go through this process, because why not? You might be able to have something less, and so I think that, it says in there, within the law, it says each law enforcement agency shall establish a trial board process in accordance with the section to adjudicate all matters for which the police officer is subject to discipline. And then, of course, what is discipline? Well, I guess discipline can be a letter of reprimand, right? So then it winds up encompassing all of these categories, and it's just, it just drives me nuts to think that, the amount of money that could be spent just on something that would be so minor and small, so. But that's, that's the way the legislators wrote it, and that's what we have to deal with. So, again, like I said, it's put together. It's not, reinventing any wheels or anything. It's sort of very similar to what was given to us as a sample. So we have it on paper. We just got to go through the final approval process. And we could certainly, I think it would probably make sense that we all just adopt the same, because since we're using the same group to go ahead and to adjudicate these matters, I think it would make sense for us all to have the same. So, maybe we should get together as a group and just sit down and go ahead and, go through, what I have on paper here, and, go ahead and make a decision on whether we move forward with that. So I think it'll probably be the best case scenario for us.
I got questions kind of off topic, but this issue about the charges, discipline, and then there was something else that came up about this time last year that the legislature, when they wrote it, they left some things very vague. Do y'all, like in law enforcement, like the sheriff's association or the police chiefs, do you get to go to Annapolis and push or try to get with your legal guys or your reps and say, hey, we need to address these? Clean
There
this
are
up.
opportunities, because we have the shared chiefs of police and sheriff's association conference is one place that I know that happens, and then in the weekly emails and things like that, and newsletters, there's always opportunities to have our voices heard.
And the same for corrections, and we've been working with the chiefs and the sheriffs with legislation as far as things that may encompass us also. So, yeah, that's all there.
I guess like everything else is slow moving.
Yes, of course.
Well, I mean, organizations have lobbyists, they're there, and when they report back to the organizations and the meetings we go to, it's just basically falling on deaf ears. They don't want to hear what our organizations have to say. So things continue to be proceeded, even before these changes in the laws that, went ahead and threw out LEOBR, police accountability, all these things that came about. There's a lot of things that were presented to them from the beginning, and they just wouldn't want to hear it, so.
The advocates that we all deal with tend to catch the ear more than the professionals in the business. Let's just tell it like it is.
Juvenile
justice reform. Yeah,
That's a classic example right now.
yeah.
Sheriff, you brought up your accreditation manager earlier, and I don't know could you explain to the board exactly what CALIA is in the certification? Just so you
Yeah,
have an
and-
idea what it is.
Ed Barry kind of approached me before I came in here. He said he was interested in saying something to me about it, so I thought maybe I'd go ahead and pull something up so I didn't misspeak. So for the sheriff's office, we're a CALIA accredited. What does that mean? Well, if I were actually to tell you what this CALIA, it's an acronym for Commission of Accreditation of Law Enforcement Agencies, is what it is. I think you're seeing more of a trend of agencies moving towards some type of accreditation. Sometimes we see that on some of the grants or definitely on the federal level of different things that they're asking you those questions. Are you part of an accreditation program? So CALIA's been around for, I think, since maybe the 70s or something of that nature. For us, as a sheriff's office, we've been accredited with CALIA since 2003. We were the first sheriff's office on the Eastern Shore to be accredited through CALIA. Now, to get their definition of CALIA, it's the CALIA accreditation program offers the opportunity to enhance our reputation and the public's confidence in our personnel and operations. Participation in this program ensures that our policies and procedures are defensible and in compliance with internationally accepted standards for law enforcement excellence. That sounds great, but what does that mean for the sheriff's office? Well, for us, I can tell you when I started, and I know Bill can say this, and even Lieutenant Lynn's back there, our policies were not on point. I mean, there were still plenty of things that were in there that even had the word Baltimore County in it and things of that nature. So, first day when you come to the sheriff's office, you got this manual in front of you, say, okay, now read this. And it's like, and I'd say, this says Baltimore County in here, and they'd say, yeah, ignore that part. So we laugh about that today, but it's like, that was the realities, then. So, it's certainly when Sheriff Price decided to go through this process, it was quite an undertaking. And we had a guy that was actually tasked to us from the federal government that actually came and helped us as an agency to put all this together. So recently, we went through a year one, so it's a 4-year process each year before your full accreditation. So we went through a year one, which is all online. So we have a retired, I think it was a retired chief from North Carolina this year, and he winds up looking at many different objectives. So we have 400 different objectives that we have to meet. And it's constantly evolving and changing. So it decides on, okay, these are now the new best practices of what law enforcement should be looking for policies and procedures. And they make sure that we're adhering to what those objectives are. That individual is, we hand feed him exactly everything that he needs, and he goes through this process. And there's a full workup, and each year now. Used to be on a 4-year process, but now it's almost each year we have to go through these things. And we also have different departments where I believe Scott, you had to talk a little bit about, what was the topic you had? Pursuits. So he actually was interviewed by the accreditation manager, or the the accreditor, what he was asking about pursuit policies. So he's asking about specifically, not just looking at our policy, but also asking individuals within the agency about the policy itself. And we had, K-9 was another one that was looked at, Internal Affairs was looked at, so each one were interviewed. So it's an extensive process that I think you're seeing more agencies moving towards. Within the last couple years, the state police, Maryland State Police moved towards CLIA accreditation. I think it can be an expensive process as well. We used to get a decent amount of break on the insurance, but that's kind of stopped now. So we do have a person of which we have to employ in our office to be able to keep up with policies and procedures for us. So it can be fairly expensive. But that was a process that started in '03. It's never a thought in my mind that I would ever stop it. It's certainly, like I said, more of a trend to move towards it. So why do we have it? Well, it makes you have your policies are now a priority because you can't get behind on them. Because if you do, they're going to find out and they're going to nick you for it because they're doing it each year. They're having this accreditation. So you have to stay on top of it. So it's almost as soon as, legislators come out with these new laws, we have to know about it right away. We used to get a thing about what different laws that are affecting law enforcement. And then we have to start within groups trying to figure out, okay, how are we going to make these policies so we're now in compliance with the new laws are here in Maryland. So we have to stay on top of it. So that's what CLIA is. Hopefully, that gives you a decent understanding of that. And I certainly, any questions you have, I could certainly answer for you.
Thank you for that. All right, anything else, anything for open discussion? Any questions, concerns, comments?
You said a civilian, the person that you appoint from the PAB that's going to be on the trial board, that's not anybody that's ever been inside this room. It's just a person on the outside.
Yeah, it's somebody, well, the person that we do have, there's a 2-day training. She went to that in Sykesville. She's come to some meetings, set out.
Okay.
But not part of the actual board or the ACC.
And, within that, it says that we got to go to a training. I think Chief's had his people, watch the video, but it's literally a 7-minute video or something that they have online. It's like on YouTube or something like that for the police officers training part of it. So, maybe a couple of us have done it, you know what I mean? But it's certainly something that as it gets closer to the event, we can certainly just sit down there and watch it.
And that's where the Maryland Police Training Commission holds a pool or a database of certified officers at every rank so that they can be pulled from
other agencies.
to sit on another agency's trial board. Yeah, so we do register everybody with MPTC.
Have we worked out what's going to happen with the trial judge? Where they're coming from?
Yeah.
Well, I think everyone has agreed they're gonna come from the office that sits in Hunt Valley. They have about 60 or so judges on their roster, and when we make the request to schedule, they will assign one to us.
Okay.
And then whoever, either the county or the municipalities, will then start paying the judge's bill, his travel, his hourly rate for the rest of the case. And the same thing as far as the uniform officers that have to be assigned. Somebody has to pay their salary to come. They're not going to be volunteers. So that's just something else we have to think about when we're putting that policy together. We're going to have one policy, but just like with the MOU with the trial judge, each municipality is going to have that worked out with the sheriff, or who's going to pay for that officer of the same rank to come and sit in. It's just another little tip for that. But they'll tell us at the time of scheduling where he's coming from. He might come from Cumberland. There's no guarantee where we get him from, and we pay his travel until he gets here.
Okay.
And there's two main places that they use. Hunt Valley, or the place in Salisbury that they said they would make available.
Okay. All right, moving on. Our next monthly meeting is scheduled for January 15th. And Johnny, you said you won't be here?
I thought it was January 8th.
No, the 8th was booked for the room.
I'm just looking at
So we moved it to the 15th. Where's the 15th?
15th.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Yeah, it's, I may be back before
Oh,
then,
okay.
so.
Just, yep.
Yeah,
And
so
we'll
let me
send
just make that.
Valerie will send reminders out to your email.
Okay.
I want to thank all the board members that are here. Thank you for doing what you do. It's, I know sometimes we think these meetings go really quick, and I don't want you to think it's a waste of your time. We all play an important role, even though the board's role is different from the ACC. But thank you for doing what you've done this year, and I'll see you next year.
Mr. Chairperson,
Yes, sir.
members of the ACC would wish to extend our compliments to the chiefs for the thoroughness of their investigations and their reports, which really help us with our jobs. Thank you.
Anything else? Okay, get a motion to adjourn.
I have a minor thing.
Second? Oh,
I
I'm sorry.
just noticed on the gender, it looks like it's boilerplate language, when it says a meeting of the Kent County Police Accountability Board was called to order at 3:02 PM, da-da-da-da. It has my name misspelled. It's with a Y. I spell my name with the I-E. There's so many Johnny Joneses, so I spell it with the I-E. So I just want to make that correction. And again, I just want to wish everyone happy holidays and happy New Year coming up.
The signing sheet, Peter?
Yep, which you need to sign. Did we make a motion to adjourn? Second?
Second.
All those in favor?